Check 1 2. Hopefully, you guys can hear me today. We want to make sure. First off, just say hello if you guys are out there watching. Welcome to Circle Talk today. I'm excited to be here. First off, I just want to thank everybody for all the love yesterday for my birthday. I had a wonderful time. I got so much love and support from my people. You guys were amazing, and I appreciate all of you guys for sending me the shout outs and all that. It was an amazing day, and I'm just blessed to be here another day to share this time with you guys. So thank you for that. Secondly, guys, it's a busy week end, and I'm excited. I got a good friend of mine. I met her actually. We met on this online app called FlyClops. I don't know if a lot of people out there know about it, but if you're a domino head, then you know a little bit about FlyClops. It's one of the most played games, I would say, out there. It's up there with like Words with Friends and all of those type of games. And the amazing thing about this app is, I met a lot of great people through this app, online and in person, and including Jouet. I met her 1 year when I went to a domino event in Texas. And obviously, I've never been to a domino event like Texas. Shout out to all the people down in Texas. And while I was there, she was there chilling with another player from the Domino League, and they were just sitting up at the bar, just chilling. And so I was like, "Is that you?" And she was like, "Yeah, it's me. I know you are." And so we talked for a little bit and chopped it up. But she's a great person. She's got an amazing story, and I'm excited to share some time with her and learn a little bit more about her life and what she's doing with teaching as well as filmmaking, and just her journey as a whole. So we're gonna go ahead and bring Jouet to the floor and welcome her. But before we do, I just want to give a huge shout out to iShotya.com, our sponsor, for being a huge part of this event. Thank you so much for continuing to support us. And for anybody looking for pictures, any type of pictures you need, shout out to iShotya.com for continuing to be a huge part of this ordeal. So hit them up if you need anything. All right, so we're gonna bring her to the building. I don't want to keep her waiting too long. She rushed home to be a part of this from work. Yes, we all got jobs. We're all busy. She ran to the house and she.
I,
So what's going on? Can you hear me? Okay.
yes, I can hear you loud and clear.
So how was your day at school today?
It was an okay day. It wasn't busy at all. Kids were testing mostly, so I had lots of time.
Right on, right on. And before we jump too deep into it, you do teach eighth grade? Are you teaching eighth grade? Is that what you're doing?
Yes, well, last year I was teaching eighth grade English. I actually was lucky enough over the last 3 years to follow the same students from sixth, seventh, and eighth grade. So my students are going off to high school, and next year I'll actually be a teacher specialist. I'll be working directly with teachers at this point, no longer in the classroom. So,
So
but
so how do you
for summer
truly?
school, I'm working with eighth grade.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So how do you truly feel about not being involved in the classrooms anymore, though? I wasn't even thinking about it till you just said that, but I could tell there was a little something going on when you said that.
Yeah, so teaching is a passion of mine. I love young people. I love more than even that. I love helping people identify and reach potential, and that's what I get from teaching. So in my transition of working with teachers instead of students, of course, in my mind, it's like I have to find a way to connect with the kids. Um, Luckily, I'm still going to be able to work with the kids at the new campus. We'll be doing a lot of co-teaching and different things like that also. So I will be helping teachers and students. So I think that I'll be able to feed that area
Yeah, yeah.
there. So
That's awesome. So for anybody that's watching, if they're wondering how to say your name, is Jouet, right?
yes, Jouet, and
Yeah,
that's one reason why I always put my middle name next to my name because it actually rhymes. Jouet Lenae.
Jouet Lenae.
It
Got
helps.
it. Got it. Yeah, it took me a long time. I've known you what? We've known each other at least 2016,
Yeah,
2017
yeah, it's
ish.
been a long time.
And I never knew how to say it until
Most people don't, so it's fine.
because everybody has their own way of saying your name, and I'm like,
Yeah,
I don't know if that's the right way. Let me just go and
yeah.
ask her, so I got it right. I don't want to get online in front of people and be like, Joe.
And you know
How'd
that's
you
what people call me too. To say Joe.
say?
Yeah.
So Jouet, and that's a beautiful name, by the way. I don't know
Thank
exactly where it
you.
came from, but it's beautiful name, beautiful name. So let's jump into a little bit about you as a person. Let's talk about your upbringing. Where did it all start for you? Like, where were you born at? Family? Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I was born in Newark, New Jersey.
Jersey.
Um, yeah, I have three older brothers. I am the youngest and the only girl. So um, I was a tomboy through high school.
Yeah.
But I lived a very protected life, being that I was the youngest and the only girl. My family were really close. We haven't always been. We've been through quite a bit, um, but we are very very close. My parents, they've been married. Ooh, I want to say 43, 44 years.
Wow. Wow.
Definitely a role model couple of not just perfection, but the whole journey. The role model of the ups and the downs. And that grit that it takes. So I am definitely appreciative of them. My mom is my best friend, and anybody that follows me online and know me and my daughter, like we're best friends too. And people talk about parents being friends with their child, but there's a balance. There's a friendship as well as respecting of the role of mom. So my relationship with my daughter reflects my relationship with my mom.
Amazing. That's beautiful, and it's awesome to hear about families that have you know fought through the ups and downs and still continue to push forward. And not only did you grow up in an environment where you had your mom and dad there the whole time to teach you guys how to live as kids, adolescents, adults, but then you took some of the tools that they gave you and you applied it to your children, which is that's amazing to hear. It's a
Most
beautiful
definitely.
thing, you know what I'm saying, when it goes down like that. So let's get into what after you ended up, obviously moving up and doing your own thing. Um, when did you decide you were going to get into teaching? When did that all start for you? The drive for becoming a teacher.
Well, I actually decided I wanted to be a teacher when I was in school, um, as like a teenager. So it's my life path was either going to be going to law school or being a teacher, and I had an experience that turned me off of law school because I was really passionate about criminal law, and then I learned that I don't have the conscience to do it.
Yeah, yeah.
My moral compass wouldn't allow me to pursue criminal law. You know, and so as a child growing up in Newark, New Jersey, I had one teacher. Her name was Miss Moore, and she really cared about me. Now in New Jersey, where I lived, it was a low income area. Um, Very poverty stricken. And she was the teacher that just kind of stood out and cared about me. And I always wanted to be that you know. And so in becoming a teacher, I've made it my goal to always teach in a lower income area, and start building relationships with kids. One of the reasons why I feel that I've been so successful as a teacher is because I'm able to build relationships with kids, because they just need someone on their team that understands them, that listens to them. It's not about these tests, it's not all about curriculum, it's about life, understanding that, when you see them, that they're more than just a kid in your classroom. They come with so many different experiences. And nowadays, kids that are in 8th grade have already gone through much more than I went through by the time I was in 8th grade, you know. And when you have a child asleep in your class, you don't realize, well, he was actually working last night, you know, or and so there's different levels of understanding, and those kids need to understand that I get it, that I understand that I've been where they are, and I just have a desire to show people what their options are, because if they lack experiences, they don't even know what their options are. And typically teachers, you see a student drawing and doodling in class during a lesson, you tell them to stop instead of letting them know that he could be an architect or a graphic designer.
Right.
you know and
Yeah.
so that conversation has to change, that narrative has to change. We need to start inspiring these kids to think a little bit deeper and broader than stop drawing and listen to me. Some students actually listen better when they're drawing. So, but that's why I wanted to be a teacher, because I had a teacher that actually cared about me more than just getting through the day. So
Awesome. So let me ask you this question too. This one is not even on my list. I have a list of questions already lined up and I wanted to ask, but this one is kind of off the list of things that I wanted to talk about. But we see a lot. It seems like more these days than in the past. We see a lot of these videos, people posting, kids posting of these kids and these teachers getting into these altercations and whatnot. Have you ever been in a situation like that where you was working with a child and they just would not listen to the point where they tried to get in your face and wanted to, do something to try and get you out of your character? Have you been in that position before?
I'm going to be honest to say I have never been in that. And I let me tell you why. I had a school move me from one grade level to another grade level because the grade level that they moved me to had a class of completely disruptive kids. These kids were throwing things, throwing chairs, hitting teachers. That was that class. And they moved me to that class.
That's like the substitute.
Yeah. And I not once had a kid get in my face, try to hit me, anything. Now the kids, they would get to the moment where they would like want to throw things. And it was the point where like I can look at my student before they walk in my room and say, wait a minute, something's wrong. You right here. I'll be with you in a second. So it's a discernment. And one thing that I think that when teachers get to that point, there's a whole background of mutual disrespect that's already happened. There's a whole background of not properly choosing your battles to avoid the war that's already happened. So what you see is uncultivated relationships. What you see is the result of probably condescending attitudes towards children, you know. And so, yeah, I've never had a student get in my face at
Not
all.
even though.
My students, even the most disruptive ones, I've seen students go off on a teacher in front of me.
Yeah.
It wasn't me though, you
Yeah.
know. But guess what? I could tell him to stop, and he would.
Awesome. That's really good when you know you've created that type of environment and that type of atmosphere and that type of aura around you, where kids know whether they're in your class or not, they know when they see you that this person is going to bring forth positivity and try and find the good in each any situation that may be in front of you. So that's awesome. That reminds me of, like, I think it was the Samuel Jackson movie when he was a substitute teacher and he had to go into that class. It
Yeah.
was one of those, you know which one I'm talking about. One of those movies where they had him be in charge of this crazy class of people, and then at the end they all ended up, changing it
Yeah,
around.
that's how it is.
Oh, that's real
And that's why
cool.
I tell you, the ones people coin as the bad ones, those are my favorite.
Yeah,
My absolute favorite, because they're genuinely, they're just misunderstood, and they hadn't been heard at all. you know
right,
they just need somebody to hear them and listen and have a little bit of compassion and understand that one bad day is not a bad life, and that we can
right.
start over the next day, not even the next day but the next minute. you
Mm-hmm.
know like every second of your life is a choice, and these are things that I teach my kids. And anybody that follows me on Facebook knows that I'm huge on quotes and reflection. I do that in class. That's how I start every day with every class. We have those conversations in class,
Awesome.
you know, and they just see the world differently, and they see themselves differently. So,
That's awesome. That's a great thing to. That's actually good advice for any teacher to start your day with a quote, because it opens up their minds and their hearts and their thoughts, um, and maybe gets out those things that are eating them inside that they really want to let loose of, but they just don't. If they see a quote that kind of hits it, that's an opportunity for them to let it loose and
right.
air it out. So that's a great idea. I ain't never been about that life, but it's definitely something that I like to do. I like to put out quotes as well, so I get it. I mean, seems like every day is a new quotes.
Yeah.
um, so let's talk about this George W. Bush. He came and
Yeah.
checked y'all out, huh? Let me
Yeah,
know.
so I was teaching in Fort Worth, and he was opening his library at SMU, and he came to visit our school, and he only visited two classrooms, and I was one of them. You know, and it was, George is pretty cool
Is it?
person. You know what I'm saying? He's a cool
Yeah.
person. So it was a really nice experience. My students absolutely loved the fact that they could say that a president visited their classroom, and they got to shake his hand, and they were so excited. So excited.
Pretty major. It's a
Yeah,
major move,
yeah, it
you know what
is.
I'm
And
saying?
it's almost like it doesn't even matter your political views or anything. Like, you got a president in the room, it's not something that happens.
No, it
So,
doesn't. You rarely hear about it. I mean, obviously you've seen it a couple times, but like, Obama visiting a few classes here and there, playing basketball with some of the kids,
right.
that type of stuff. But you don't hear about it if you think back to any other presidents, which other presidents were ever
Actually
visiting,
done that. Yeah.
getting in there and just saying hey to the kids of the future.
Hmm.
That could be something that could be a driving force for one of them to want to do the same thing. But
Right.
it is what it is. So let's talk a little bit about this filmmaking thing. I didn't even know anything about the filmmaking side of you. I mean, I found out about that pretty much yesterday, day before
Yeah.
yesterday. I was like, shoot, drop me a little knowledge on that. We want to know about that too.
Yeah, so I'm a film producer, production manager mostly. I don't write, but I help people put their vision, on film. I help organize everything. I help with the casting process. I help organize contracts. I help during actual filming. Just with helping. I do step in and assist the director. When needed. Right now I'm partnered with Ginger Snaps Productions with Jen Blanton, amazing person, amazing director, amazing writer. That is like we are right and left hand, like we are, a team.
Yeah.
So the film I'm working on right now is a film called Facade. This is my second film with Ginger Snaps. We just wrapped a film called Chloe's Pocketbook Diary a few months ago. That one should be released later this year or early in next year. Um, I also worked as a production manager for a film called No Ordinary Love, written by China Robinson. It's an amazing film. That one is on Amazon Prime. And there also have the first feature film that I worked on is called The Cliff. That's also on Amazon Prime. I did that with Dottie Nation. That was a project that I worked on with my ex-husband. Like that was probably what, 2010, 2009. And so that one is on Amazon Prime as well. So filmmaking is something that is, it's just fun. It's tedious, it's busy, it's a lot of work, but it is just fun to create and see things get, put together. Like, and honestly, everything that I do, whether it's teaching or filmmaking or, helping people establish business or anything, is it really goes down to me helping people reach potential. Like it's like that's my passion is like I was given the gift to help, and I've recognized that within myself. I'm not necessarily somebody that just kind of leads the pack. You know what I'm saying? I am a person that loves to assist and make things happen for people. I help vision come to pass, and I own that, and I love it.
Awesome. That's really cool. So before we get done with this, we're gonna try and get all the information because you got a lot of stuff you're doing, and I think it would be beneficial if we drop the information in the comments. So I'm gonna get with you after we're done and make sure everybody has an opportunity to check out some of these films and things that are going on within your circle of things. So let's talk about dominoes.
Let's talk about dominoes.
Yeah, how long you been playing dominoes? We'll just throw that out there real quick.
Oh, I've been playing dominoes since well, I started playing in college, so I'm saying in 2000. I
Yeah,
started playing dominoes. I started playing dominoes and shooting pool in 2000. So
yeah,
I credit my dominoes play to some guys in my dorm. They would just talk about me. They still talk about me because some of them are on the app. You
yeah.
think you can play, you can't. So but yeah, that's when I started playing.
And you started playing dominoes in college on the app, or were you playing
No,
playing
I
live?
was playing in person. So,
Okay,
everybody would be in the little lounge area and just playing dominoes and shooting pool. And I was a resident assistant. So I would be the one that would get the key to the office after hours and let
yeah,
let everybody play games all night. So
yeah. And did you go to you said you went to college too?
yeah, I went to UT Arlington.
Nice, nice. Yeah, we play dominoes a lot. I think we just recently played, and you're like, "What?
Yeah, I think we're in
We
the middle of a game. I've been slow lately because I'm busy right now.
played."
I'm sorry.
That's okay. That's okay. I was losing that game, so I was like, "Take your time." But that's cool. How often do you play live? I mean, how often do you go to these events that they do down there? Because they don't do those events up here. So
Well,
um,
I haven't had time recently, but here, like, we have live dominoes every Wednesday night. That's probably about 10 the same group that puts on the tournaments.
yeah,
We play every Wednesday night. They just had a summer tournament last weekend, and of course, the big ones are March and October.
yeah,
So there's always some place to play in Dallas. I think there's another place that plays on Fridays. Yeah, it's and there's
that's
a lot
cool.
of us out here too. So
Yeah.
we can call each other up and say, hey, let's play some dominoes
It's
today.
it's just crazy to me because like there's a lot of players in this area,
Mhm.
but no way they don't do it like down there at
Yeah, the
all. When I
culture is
went to that,
definitely different here.
yeah, when I went to that tournament, I was like, yo, there's like over 100 people at this place to play dominoes.
Hmm.
I was like, this is where it's at. I was like, you know, so I mean, I was like, shoot, I was jealous because I mean, I love my state. I love my state. We have a lot of amazing things that happen here, but I'm a huge domino head. I've been playing dominoes since I was a kid. My dad used to beat me up all the time when I was little. And so when I found out that they were doing live domino tournaments like this, I'm like, man, I need to go to more of these things. But they're not cheap. They're expensive. It's
Right.
expensive to travel all the time and all that. And I don't want to drive or fly all the way down there and not win no
And not win the
money.
money, huh?
That means I lost. No,
Right, right. And there's some really good players, some
there is,
really good
there
players.
is, there is some amazing players. I played a lot of great people, including I think, are you guys together? You guys, that's your ex, right? Okay, yeah, your ex. He's good, but he's he's beatable. He's beatable.
Yeah.
I seen him lose a couple games, get a little upset, but it is what it is. When that money's on the line, people act funny, so it's all good. So
Yeah.
okay, let's get into let's go ahead and jump into the important part of this uh, conversation. The reason why I really uh, grew drew to this interview. Um, right now, I think ever since January, I've been doing um, either push-ups, sit-ups, squats to raise money for cancer awareness. And a few times you had mentioned it, but you didn't get deep into it. You just mentioned it to
Mhm.
people so that they knew you was a fighter and you was going through it. Tell us a little bit about your fight with cancer, where it
Okay.
all started and everything.
Well, I was diagnosed with thyroid cancer when I was 20. So about 18 years ago, I was diagnosed with thyroid cancer. Um, from there, I had 2 rounds of radiation. I had surgery to totally lose my thyroid. I had a total thyroidectomy. Um, and I don't, if someone doesn't know what a thyroid is, your thyroid is literally the powerhouse of your whole body. It regulates absolutely everything. It regulates your metabolism, your energy, your temperature, like whether you're hot or cold. It affects your hormones, like absolutely everything in your body is regulated by your thyroid. So I don't have one anymore. um, and so you know recently, so in 2010, um I was not 2010, 2018. In 2018, I was diagnosed as having recurrent thyroid cancer, which basically means that the thyroid cancer had returned. So I do have an active tumor, even though I don't have a thyroid. It's quite interesting, but but I do have an active tumor. However, it is too small to remove, or if they try to, they would either miss it or damage something else. So the issue here is that, I said I was diagnosed at age 20. I started having like hormonal dysfunction probably around 12 and 13. I went to the doctor for that, and I was misdiagnosed with something else, and treated for the misdiagnosis. Um, During that span of 8 years, I had a tumor growing in my neck. It wasn't until I went for a regular checkup when I was 20 that my doctor noticed that I had a huge lump on my neck. And by this time, it had been there so long, I wasn't even really thinking about it. It was just like, hey, I don't even remember when it showed up.
Right, right.
Um, and she tested it, and it came back that, it was cancer. And um, by that time, the cancer had totally covered all of my thyroid. and even went back into lymph nodes. And so they couldn't save any part of the thyroid. Um, Me being diagnosed again 10 years later came from just the readings from my scans versus my blood. My scans would show up normal, but my blood would show that something was wrong. And I had a doctor that he would just test the mess out of me. He would test and test and test, and nothing showing up right. And then he had me go through radiation again, but um, he didn't know what he was treating. He was just like, this is not right, so we're going to do radiation. Now, radiation doesn't feel good at all. Like, you're sick during that whole span of 2 weeks. It's not fun. You have to separate yourself from family. You're isolated. And after he did that and some years had gone by, he started doing it again because it started to show back up that there was something wrong. And then I just noticed his pattern being the same, and I just told myself, I'm not doing radiation again if you don't know what you're looking for. And so I went to MD Anderson in Houston, and they ran some tests, and they said, well, you have thyroid cancer still. That's the reason why your levels are showing up the way they are. And they told me that he should have never treated me with radiation prior to doing surgery. Surgery is something that happens after a tumor is removed in the thyroid cancer situation. They said I was overexposed to scans. They shouldn't have been scanning me every 6 months, and it was a mess. So at this point, I only deal with MD Anderson as it relates to to my the thyroid cancer situation. But having recurrent thyroid cancer, I'm on daily medication. I take a pill to help my body think that it has a thyroid for the most part. And I check in with MD Anderson every year to make sure that my levels are where they're supposed to be. It's not the easiest thing because thyroid cancer is one of those chronic illnesses that you don't see. People don't look at you and know, oh, she's ill or whatever, and it shows up in different ways. The way I exhaust energy is probably double, triple, quadruple the way someone else does. Whatever, you might go for a run. Well, if I go for a run, it affects me differently, but even like the smallest task, and then you have moments of just being absolutely drained, or like you forget like everything. And it's a weird, it has a weird list of symptoms of when levels are off. But I've learned to manage. I've learned to listen to my body. I've learned to eat better. I've learned to exercise, and just kind of pay attention to how my mood is, and communicate that with my kids, because being a single mom um, with kids, like, they have to understand, like, today is the day when mom is not feeling good, and so those days, me and the kids, we just watch Netflix all day. And so you just turn it, like, I literally can't do anything today, so we just lay down and watch TV, and they love it. Whereas before, I knew how to read myself, and I'm still pushing when I have no energy, then I would just get so moody, and I'm yelling and screaming, and it's just bad. And now I know, it's like, wait a minute, something's wrong. Let me sit down somewhere. You know. So, but on the positive side, my last visit to MD Anderson, they they stated that my levels showed virtually almost no, like, my cancer level is like really almost non-existent, almost non-existent. And he found that surprising because I wasn't taking my medicine like I should either. And so it's like, if you weren't taking your medicine like you're supposed to for your levels, he's like, he didn't even know how to explain why my levels were so low. almost as if nothing was wrong. So, like, of course, I know how that happens, but
Yeah. Wow.
so
That's amazing. Um, it's I don't know, when I think about it, it's it's a beautiful thing to be able to say, you lasted as long as you did with the wrong uh, person in in front of you, telling you what to do and
mhm.
giving you the wrong advice and taking you through the wrong procedures, and and you came out on top.
Yeah.
Mind you, like, whatever happened with the other guy, did you guys end up, you know going to court for him
No, though, for
misdiagnosing
my
you? Or
misdiagnosis,
yeah.
no. It hit, first of all, by the time I found it was like 8 years. So I was like 12, 13. I don't even know, where or who that person was. It had been so long, and we probably could have gotten
I mean,
uh,
because he had to have tested you more than one time. I mean, I'm sure he.
and I honestly don't even think they checked my thyroids when I was 13 and went to the doctor. They didn't check my thyroid. My mom told them what happened or what was going on,
Yeah.
and they were like, "Oh, that's this."
They let it. They said, "Oh, it leads to this," and
Yeah.
so
And then they gave
they
me
just
some
put two and two
medicine.
together.
Yeah, they gave me some medicine.
Wow.
And that was it. And then by the time that I actually was diagnosed, at that time, thyroid cancer wasn't something that was just widely known. And if it was happening, it was happening with older people, like old folks. I was 20, so I was.
Yeah.
It wasn't common that someone my age um, would develop thyroid cancer at that point. And then for it to be so big, it was like, oh, thyroid cancer is very slow growing. So for it to cover your whole thyroid, like you've been dealing with this for years, you know, and so they were really, really shocked about that. That first of all, that I was so young, um, but now thyroid dysfunction is not uncommon at all. At all is rapidly spreading, not necessarily just thyroid cancer, but hypothyroidism, hyperthyroidism. I honestly believe it's because of the hormones in our food. Because if you just think about it, for me, common sense would say if your thyroid produces natural hormones for your body and you're putting in artificial hormones into your
Yeah.
body,
Makes sense.
of course they're going to fight,
Yeah. Makes
you
sense.
know.
Yeah.
So
Interesting. So, I don't want to get too deep into the procedure or anything, but once you figured out exactly what it was, and they said, "Oh well, we got to take out your thyroid," did they have to do emergency surgery or something?
yeah, they
Like,
did
how did?
surgery the next day. They did
Wow.
surgery the next day. They wanted to do radioactive therapy immediately after, but I was so scared, um, and I didn't. And I talked my parents into letting me try natural medicine, um, and that was not fun because because I went to this doctor, and of course, natural medicine um, relies on all parts of your body being in harmony. So I was on like 16 different medications 3 times a day. I had to take this liquid stuff, and I would have to take it so much that I would almost gag every time. It wasn't fun, and it wasn't helping. And when talking with that holistic medicine doctor, he was like, well, he said, it it's most likely because I don't have a thyroid. It's like I'm missing an organ in my body that needs to be able to function properly. He believed that had I not had the surgery, that we could kind of reverse some of the cancer with holistic medicine. But the fact that it was totally missing, it wasn't helping um, the the levels that I needed to not be hypothyroid, which would have me lethargic all the time or cloudy brained and all of that. And so at that point, I was like, okay, well, if I need to get radioactive therapy for this, then I, didn't. So the radioactive therapy was just like a sweep to make sure all the cancer had been eliminated. And, at that point, it had just over time, it returned. So now, like I said, I just kind of monitor myself, see where I am. If I feel weird, I adjust myself, so that not only am I taking care of myself, but that I'm attentive to the people around me, you know. Um, so yeah, that's it. And I do a lot. Like most people, when I tell them I have thyroid issues, and these they call it surgically induced hypothyroidism, because the lack of thyroid would give me surgically induced hypothyroidism. The fact that I do so much, it's like, how in the world do you do that? How does your body do all that? Like, I'm not afraid to stop. That's why I will shut everything down, you know? So,
Yeah, for sure. Well, I appreciate you sharing this information with us. Um, Thyroid cancer, is it? It's not just for women. It's for anybody, right? Anybody
yeah,
can get
it's for anyone. Yeah, men can have
that.
thyroid cancer, women can have thyroid cancer. Hypothyroidism is a underproducing thyroid. Hyperthyroidism is an overproducing thyroid. Um, all of them have some major effects on the way your body operates. I mean, the list of symptoms is just so long. It's really long. So it's definitely a learning process.
Yeah. Wow. So, like I said, I do appreciate you spending some time with us, just sharing your story, because I think truly you're, in a nutshell, you're a fighter. And I definitely appreciate hearing um, that even through all the struggles of being misdiagnosed, you survived and you pushed through, and you found it in your heart and to say, well, this isn't right. Let me have somebody else take a look before it was too late.
Mhm.
Because there are people that get misdiagnosed all the time.
Right.
I mean, we're human. We make mistakes all the time, and some people never make it past that point. So I'm I'm truly appreciative for your story. You're you're an amazing person. Obviously, the kids probably love you to death. Obviously, you seem like a very um, easygoing person. Like, even if I didn't meet you sitting at the bar with, I can't remember the girl you was sitting with.
That's probably Tamisha,
I,
Nene
I
Spice on the app. Usually
Amy
is.
Spice on the app. You guys were sitting at the bar, and I seen you over there. I was like, that looks like you. I'm about to go talk. And so I went in, and you give me that look like, what you want? Boy, I know you
Yeah.
are. And but I thank you so much for being the person that you are, sharing your story. I mean, I'm excited to see what comes next. Film. I'm definitely going to take a look at the films that you've been working on. What's next on tap for you in 2021? What else you got going on? You got
Oh
anything we can
goodness.
watch out for?
I mean, definitely. Where in the films I'm working on, this facade film is going to be really good.
Yeah.
We have one that we're going to work on after this. That's going to be great. Anything that comes out of Ginger Snaps Productions, because that's that's home for me, production
Snaps
wise. Yeah,
Productions.
and so I'm really excited about what we're going to do, and I'm really taking some time to focus on my impact as an educator,
Yeah.
um, and just I mean just continuing to help people.
Yeah.
You know,
That's
I don't
awesome.
even know how, to explain it when people say, you know, understanding your purpose and your passion in life. It's like, I just like to help folks. Like, that's
That's how I feel
it.
every
That's all
single
I
day.
like to do.
Yes, every single day. I'm like, how can I help the next person? How can I
Yeah.
somebody's, light in the darkness? How can I give some
And I think that
encouragement?
even with filmmaking, I think it really touched me when I did my first casting call, and I cast some actors, and it was their first film, and they were so excited about achieving a goal, and I was like, yeah, like that's why I do. That's the fulfillment that I get
Yeah.
out of absolutely everything I do. Absolutely everything.
Let me ask you a question. One last. This will probably be one of the last questions I ask you though. But what's your take on Juneteenth?
On Juneteenth,
Yeah.
well, or which aspect, the holiday itself, or the fact that they just signed it into being a national
The
holiday?
holiday. The holiday. Let's talk about the holiday.
Well, so I'm from New Jersey, and I'm gonna be honest. When I moved to Texas and learned about Juneteenth, I was like, "Oh, we knew we were free." That was the joke.
Yeah.
That was the joke.
Yeah.
But um, I do recognize that it is an acknowledgement of freedom, because you had a group of people that just weren't informed, and it wasn't at fault of their own, um, and and it's almost like another Independence Day, so to speak,
Yeah.
for a specific culture. Um, that's specific to just Texas, right? It was the
Right.
Texas slaves. Yeah, and I can see why it's meaningful um, here in Texas.
So,
Yeah.
so I think that's pretty much all I really wanted to talk about today. I think you gave me a lot of good information, especially for the people that are listening, and I think your story is definitely one of the first since since I started doing this, where I actually got to sit down and talk about um, someone going through something and coming out on top, something like cancer, and being misdiagnosed, and you know all the amazing things that you're doing in your life. um, I'm, I'm, I'm excited for you, what you guys have got going on with the filming, and your students, um, still being a part of your life, even though you won't be in the classrooms moving
Yeah.
forward. You're still going to be doing your thing though.
Yeah,
But
most definitely, most definitely.
yeah,
I'm always gonna find a way to impact
yeah,
children, because that's our future, and somebody's
yes,
got to show them what they can do, and
yes.
just the understanding that it doesn't matter where you come from, it
Mm,
doesn't matter what your environment is. Like, you have the power to create the life that you want to live, you
yep.
know.
Amen
And
to that.
I believe that for myself. I wouldn't teach a student anything that I didn't believe. And if it was a part of the curriculum, I promise find a way to tell the truth.
For sure, for sure, for sure.
I'm that teacher. I know it's a problem now, but look, this is, I one experience of me teaching social studies. Um, I didn't say anything. I just told them the facts, and I asked them, well, what do y'all think about that? And that was the discussion. I let them say how did they feel about the Trail of Tears when the Native Americans were killed, you know. And I let them have that dialogue.
Yeah,
You know that you gotta allow children to feel and think on their own. So
Yes, exactly. Exactly. For sure. For sure. Well, thank you so much, Jouet. Like I said, it's been a great interview. I thank you so much for sharing your knowledge on your life and the things that you have been through, and I'm excited for the future and what you have going on. I'll be in tap. Obviously, we'll probably meet up somewhere down the line at another domino tournament,
yeah.
whether it's live or on FLYCLOPS, unfortunately. um, Guys, thank you guys so much for watching Circle Talk for the day. Like I said, this weekend is busy. If you guys are available, make sure you guys tune in. We'll be live tomorrow. We'll be at a few different. I'm doing a couple different festivities of Juneteenth. So I'll be on 84th at 12, and then at 3 o'clock I'll be down at Wright Park, going live. Just hearing people's stories and talking to people about what it means to them. So tune in tomorrow. Thank you again, Jouet. And next week, guys, if you guys are available, make sure you guys check out. We'll have Eric Powers, 103.7 in the building, talking with him. I've known that dude since I was like 16 years old. He gave me my first break on online, so I'm excited to sit down and talk with him. And thanks again to iShopta.com. And on that note, y'all have a wonderful day. Thank everybody for being here. We'll see you guys next week. Thanks again, Julian.
Thank you for
Have a
having
wonderful
me.
day.
Bye.
Peace, y'all.